Hi, I'm Blake Whitmer, and I'm a Dartmouth 23. I currently study philosophy and mathematics. I wrote an article for the fall 2020 edition of Apologia entitled Free Will and Love in the Era of COVID-19. Christianity and paradoxes are inextricably linked. It's no secret that Christianity has difficult to comprehend doctrines such as the Incarnation and the Trinity, but I think that the link between Christianity and paradoxes goes even further than this. David Hume, among others, once claimed that the Christian religion cannot be believed by any reasonable person. Bertrand Russell, another critic of Christianity, once wrote Principia Mathematica, a monumental 3-volume work consisting of thousands of pages of mathematics, all in an attempt to rid mathematics of a paradox that he discovered. In Why I'm Not a Christian, Russell similarly argued, in more or less words, that Christianity was full of paradoxes and contradictions. Meanwhile, defendants of Christianity view paradoxes as a good thing. C.S. Lewis once stated that if we find ourselves with a desire that nothing in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that we were made for another world. Here, it seems that the paradox of unsatisfiable desires leads to the conclusion that Christianity is true. Soren Kierkegaard also famously argued that Christianity was full of paradoxes, but that these paradoxes were arguments to count in Christianity's favor. When I was thinking about writing this paper, I began to theorize that there was a commonality between all of these cases. Anti-theists thought that Christianity was bad because it was either paradoxical or absurd. Apologists, however, thought that Christianity was good because it was either paradoxical or absurd. All of these things led me to two hypotheses. First, I figured that paradoxes were indeed a core feature that laid at the heart of Christianity. Secondly, I figured that much of the debate surrounding Christianity can be reduced to the debate surrounding paradoxes. In other words, if paradoxes are something to be avoided, then atheism is the logical result. But if paradoxes are a good thing, then the only logical conclusion is Christianity. It seems to me that this fundamental disagreement over the status of paradoxes is a massive issue that spreads across almost the entirety of the discussion surrounding Christianity. However, it is impossible to cover the entirety of the discussion surrounding Christianity in one paper. As such, I decided to take one criticism of Christianity, that is, the problem of evil, in the work of one defender of Christianity, that is, G.K. Chesterton, and analyze the disagreement over the status of paradoxes in this slightly smaller arena. In my argument, I first had to define and describe what the word paradox meant. In this paper, I used the theory of paradoxes that G.K. Chesterton outlines in his book Orthodoxy. As Chesterton is not a logician, I don't give a precise definition, but I roughly conclude that paradoxes are the unification of two good things that should not be compatible with each other. After explaining the nature of paradoxes, I had to take the problem of evil and show that it indeed fits Chesterton's definition of paradox. This was a bit more difficult. How do I take the concept of evil and show that evil is a good thing? This seems impossible. It might even be a paradox. Luckily for my paper, quite a bit of Christian philosophy has already been written in response to the problem of evil. I called upon this scholarship and concluded that evil exists as a necessary byproduct of free will. This grounded the problem of evil in another tough-to-answer theological issue. How can free will coexist with the all-powerful, all-loving will of God? However, I did not need to answer this question. I had already demonstrated that the problem of evil contained the unification of two incompatible good things, free will and God's love. Thus, I achieved my original goal of showing that the problem of evil fits Chesterton's definition of paradox. I concluded my paper by arguing that the apparent paradoxes and contradictions within Christianity are not flukes. Rather, Christianity was always meant to be paradoxical. I wanted to accomplish two things with my paper. First of all, I simply wanted to give my readers an introduction to the theory of G.K. Chesterton. Reading Orthodoxy blew my mind, and I wanted to do the same for others. Secondly, I wanted to challenge the way my readers view paradoxes. When I learned about paradoxes as a child, they did not scare me. Instead, they fascinated me. I wanted to learn as much as I could about paradoxes. I hope that through my paper, the paradoxes of Christianity will not scare readers, but rather urge readers to be fascinated and think deeply about Christianity.